Been some new developments, of course, in the Brian Koberger case, the Idaho 4 students who were murdered. Now, the affidavit came out. I didn't read the whole thing. I just saw news. Don't mind how I look. I just whatever. If I were to get up and go, I'd never do a video, so whatever. But anyway, it came out that I guess the one roommate, who I assumed were both sleeping on the basement floor, the ground floor, who I assumed the suspect didn't know there was bedrooms down there and didn't go down there. I guess supposedly now she was on the second floor in a bedroom on the second floor, the same floor as Ethan and Xana. And in the affidavit it said something to the fact that she woke up at 4 and she heard a commotion upstairs. She thought it was Kaylee playing with her dog. And just regarding that, I mean, I can hear the people upstairs very clearly. They make a lot of noise with the kids running, and they're always making noise. I mean, it could be someone up there killing someone, and I would go back to sleep because they just make so much noise all the time. Like, I would never know. It's like the boy that cried wolf. Like, I would just assume it was someone playing with their dog. They're constantly running, wrestling. I don't know what they're doing up there, but people falling, you know. I mean, murders could be going on up there. Well, they're not, but I'm just saying. So, you know, I hear things and things fall, and you know, I'm like, I jump in my sleep because it wakes me up, but I go back to bed because they're always noisy up there. So she thought it was just like someone playing with the dog. And then she heard, oh, someone's in here. So now I can't really hear what the people say upstairs. Now, this is an apartment building, not a house. So I'm sure it's insulated, hopefully a little better. So that's what she heard upstairs. And another thing I just want to say before I start this is, you know, people are throwing shade on her, the girl that opened her door 3 times. You know, people are assuming that she knows exactly what happened. You know, people are assuming she saw everything, and she didn't. Just think about it. At this point in time, she did not know that they had been sliced to death. So upstairs, she's thinking they're just playing with the dog. Okay, she didn't know any of that. Okay, then so she heard that first. I think she opened her door. You know, didn't hear anything else. Closed her door, lay back down. Then, oh, when someone said someone was here from upstairs, she thought it was Kaylee. So she looked around, like, because this is a party house, you know, it could just have been a friend, you know, like she's going to say, oh, hey, why are you here? You know, hey, you know, we left the door open, you know, what do you need? Whatever. Didn't see anything, closed the door, went back to bed or whatever, you know, whatever she did in her room. Then she heard something else. I don't know what the second reason was that she opened her door. I don't know if that was the time that she heard crying from Xana's room. Now, mind you, also, who's to say she knew that Ethan was in there? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, again, at this point, this girl has no idea that anyone has been stabbed. Okay, so she just thought the person upstairs was playing with the dog, said, oh, someone's here. Okay, it could be anybody. Friend, doesn't have to be foe. Downstairs, she heard Xana crying. First they just said heard Xana crying, but then someone, I didn't read the affidavit, but someone else in a report wrote chilling cries or something to that effect. Oh, and then she heard someone say, don't worry, I'll help you. Because Xana supposedly was on TikTok and ordered food at 4 in the morning, so I don't know. But again, you know, they might not be putting everything in the affidavit because they might not want the defense to, like, be countering everything that they put in it. So again, We don't know what else was said to the girl that opened her door. But just mind you that at that point, she doesn't know that all this happened. She's got no clue. She doesn't even know that Ethan's in there. Who's to say she knew that he was sleeping over that night? So she heard Xana crying. I'm not quite sure what you would think it would be, a chilling, awful cry. But she heard crying. So then the last time she opened her door, he had walked past her. And they said she froze in fear because it was a stranger. Now, they didn't say that she saw blood on him or whatever, but they could be keeping that, you know, under wraps so the defense doesn't get a hold of that information. But they said she froze in fear. Now, let's just say she didn't see blood on him. Well, let's take two scenarios. Let's say she saw blood on him. She froze in fear, locked her door, and stayed in there till morning. Afternoon, you know, I guess the police 911 call was like 11:59, or I don't know what time it was, but it was a late morning. Who's to say he didn't say, "I'll be right back," you know, like, "I'll come back for you"? Who's to say he didn't do that? Who's to say she didn't lock her door, move all her furniture, you know, sit there in a panic? Who's to say that she wasn't in such fear that she just hunkered down and thought maybe he was outside? Okay. So let's say it's 4:30 now, 4:30, 5:30, 5:30, 6, 7, 8. So let's say we're talking 8 hours. Yeah, 7, 8 hours. That is a long time. You know, maybe she fell asleep. You know, but they're throwing a lot of shade at her about why she didn't go out or call 911. Now, again, we're assuming that she knew everything that was going on, everything that happened at this point, which she didn't. Now, when I was in college, and I lived on off-campus housing, there was a creepy guy, I don't know who it was probably was a townie, that was starting to go into the off-campus housing with, you know, sorority houses and stuff. Well, I wasn't in a sorority, but some of the girls in my house were, and someone would come through the windows and just get on top of a girl. You know, there wasn't really any assaults, and there was nothing like, no one hurt, but a creeper would come in and then attempt to get on top of a female, and they wake up, scream, and then he'd run away. So with Xana crying, maybe she thought this was a rapist, you know, versus like a murderer. And maybe she thought Xana got raped or got attempted rape. So she was afraid for herself of getting raped. Maybe she just thought it was a rape, or not that that would be any better than a murder, even still. But maybe because she didn't know what was going on, maybe she was waiting for Xana to come talk to her. You know, it all depends on what she saw on him. If she saw blood, stop. Get back now. Ugh, I opened the window a crack and he could see outside. So hopefully there's no squirrel. I don't think it was kind of late for them to be hanging out. I think they go to bed early. But anyway, so maybe she would, so if she heard Xana cry, obviously she thinks Xana's alive, right? Again, she doesn't know. Who says she knows Ethan's in there? Who says she does not know that murders are taking place or that murders are happening? So maybe she was waiting for Xana to come to her. Maybe she was texting Xana or texting Kaylee and Madison, and no one was responding to her. Yeah, you might be like, okay, she should have done this, this, and this, and that, but I don't think we have all the facts. So I don't think people should be throwing shade at this girl. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Now, as far as the 911 call that a person was found unconscious, I think the roommate from downstairs came upstairs. So I think the girl that was on the second floor that came out of the room 3 times, I think when she did wake up, she did go into, let's say, Xana's bedroom and saw what occurred. So she fainted. And then maybe the girl downstairs heard a thump. It got up, came upstairs, and called 911. Or even called, well, they said they called a friend first, like, oh, you know, what do I do? She passed out. Maybe she had been drinking the night before. I think it was a sorority house. So maybe she was worried about, you know, like how frats and sororities with the drinking and the initiation into your frat getting in trouble because of hazing. So maybe she was afraid, you know, like maybe she was calling a friend, like, did she drink somewhat? Did she drink that much that last night? Like, because she went upstairs, right, to go to sleep. So how, like, the girl downstairs, how does she know that she didn't pass out, like, when she went upstairs? Because maybe she was in the same clothes. So she was maybe worried about a sorority hazing incident where the girl got really drunk and they would be in trouble. You know, who knows? But so I think the other roommate called on her, who was passed out. And I thought they said passed outside. So maybe she got up, went into Xana's room, saw what happened, ran downstairs, went outside, and then the other roommate from downstairs got up and saw her and called, you know, the friend, again, worried about a hazing incident or something to that effect. I don't know. But we'll ask the cards if they could tell us. And as far as him walking past her, my initial impression was he didn't really see her, or he saw her and saw the state of shock on her face and maybe thought to himself that she's going to think this is a dream, or she's not going to know he's covered up enough that she's not going to be able to recognize him or pick him out in a lineup. And I know someone else did say this, and I think he had just killed 4 people. So he was done. He was tired. He was done. He just wanted to, like they said, get out of Dodge. So I think that was true. And so I think he either just didn't see her, or he saw her in shock and thought she might just think she's dreaming this and he won't be able to recognize her. Or who knows, maybe he said something else to her, like, I'm coming back for you, you know, don't call nobody. Who knows, you know, we don't know. That maybe they left, you know, they didn't have to put everything in this affidavit. The sad part for me was that if Xana was crying, which meant, you know, she could be crying over Ethan, but she also could be crying in pain. So that was the sad part. But again, from my last video, I felt he went into that room by accident. And again, I thought, at first I thought he woke someone up, but being that she was up, he walked in on an accident and there's a witness. So he had to do what he had to do in his mind, take them both out. Now, the one video that shows the car speeding past, you know, you see a cell phone, hold it up against a window. So I wonder if that was the roommate in the house seeing his car drive past quickly. You know, if she was, because the bedrooms were in the front of the building, you know, where the cars were parked. So if he drove past that street before the parking lot of their house complex, if she was looking at her window and had the mindset to try to get a picture of him and saw a car speeding past, so she snapped a photo, that would have been very smart So I just wonder who took that photo, because it was through a window, because you could see the reflection of the phone. So I'm just gonna ask, regarding the girl, the survivor, and please just don't show, you weren't there, you don't know, and people are acting as if she knew everything that was going on. She didn't know at that point. So just give the girl some slack. So let's see what we could tell about anything else about what happened with her. Okay. Alright, so we have a Fool, which is interesting. There's trees in this photo again. What I'm seeing here is maybe he pointed to her, like, you're next, because he's pointing. And this person is covered. I'm trying to see if there's a knife on him, because I wouldn't be surprised if there were, because he looks like a warrior. Kind of like a sharp stick is sticking out of his the rags on top of his head, but he's definitely covered. And it's calling out to me to be a sheet. Then they were killed in bed. There is a lion and a deer. Kind of looks like they're hunting this man. So I see that as deers to me are the spirit, divine up above. And the lion is like a predator, so the police, courage, bravery, police have courage, bravery. So what I'm seeing here, and I'm not reading it as the Fool going on a journey, but that he pointed to her. Maybe he didn't say anything, maybe he just pointed, like, you're next. So she was frozen in fear. Oh, you know how they said that he left his, I guess it was a sleeve that he put the knife in, the cell or whatever. And we'll never know this because they're deceased, but my thinking was that one of the girls had presence of mind to see it and grab it and hide it. And in quickness to get out of the home, maybe because he heard the girl downstairs keep opening her door, and again, maybe he didn't know if it was male or female, he just heard someone opening a door. He looked for her and glanced but couldn't find it, and I'm thinking one of the girls had presence of mind to take it and put it, like, as evidence, you know, like to hide it. Saw it, hid it, you know, like if you're being attacked, and if there's any kind of law enforcement in either of their backgrounds, or if they gone to any self-defense courses, you know, you want to grab hair, you want to use your nails, you want to get DNA off your perpetrator, your aggressor. So if they saw that, they might have hid it, grabbed it and hid it under them, even though it was in plain sight when the police came, I think, or it was next to them. You know, I don't know exactly where it was, but it was in a spot where he didn't see it at glance to leave the scene. But with the girl opening the door, he had to just leave. Okay, and then we have, and I did get my sheet out so I could see what, so this is the sitting dragon. Sitting dragon, this is the knight. And this is the Knight of Cups. Yeah. This is all about, with my last video, about love and, you know, puffing out his chest, you know, trying to be all that and getting nowhere. Now, there's a big pole here. I don't know what that means, but it means something. Like telephone pole. And it looks like he's digging. I don't know if the knife will be by a telephone pole or down a chimney. Or, you know, they have those poles. Those are for mitigation for, what is it? Radon? I don't know. My realtor brain just kicked in. But if old buildings have radon, they have a pipe that sticks out of the building. And I wonder if he put the knife in one of those pipes. But I'm seeing like a telephone pole. But I'm seeing digging. He dug. He hid the knife. And before I said he hid it on his property. But now I did see somewhere, I don't know, I overheard, I don't know, that he drove like far away to some forest preserve maybe. So he might have hid it there. And I do see a lot of roads behind him here. Okay. But they also can be deceitful. The king, the Knight of Cups. And this is interesting now because we have the Hierophant. And behind him is like demons. So this tells me that he may have had a religious background, but the demons took over, or he's a part of a cult. You know, and when I said he was a virgin, and you know, they said this was called incels, like, I didn't even know what that meant on my first video. And I heard it before, but I didn't pay any attention to it. But then it came up again in a video I was watching. Stop. Just stop. So, and then they were talking about how he's vegan, so he doesn't eat meat. But then someone was saying maybe that was because he has an urge for cannibalism, so he doesn't want to eat meat. I don't know, but I don't know if he's in part of an incel group. You know, he may believe in their beliefs, but I don't know if he's really in a group with anyone else. You know, maybe. I think he again, I think he just, it had been building for a while. I could be wrong. I don't sense a serial killer. Now, if he got away with this, I think he might. Now, they said, and I should have said this in the last reading, and I don't know why I didn't. You know, in these cards, you know, with the hourglass, and the 2 3s came up. And the 1 3 I said take notice of because it was 3 in the morning, because they said it was between 3 and 4. But there was 2 3s. And I was going to say that it took 33 minutes to do these crimes. Now, they're saying it was like 24 minutes or something. But I do believe it was very quick. Very quick. In and out. Very quick. I mean, you have people that are sleeping. They're not, like, alert and in their best, like, they're laying down. They're not in their stance of can fight back, you know. So, So, you know, that could just be an easier crime to commit. I'm wondering if someone got a finger cut. I know they wanted to pull him over to look at his hands. So, but now this was how many weeks after? It was at least 4, what was it, 7 weeks? But that could have healed, depending on how deep the cut was. But I just feel like he cut someone's finger or thumb, or he cut his thumb. Yeah, there was a conflict going on inside of him, like virtue versus evil, and he, the evil won. Okay, now I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing, I didn't realize that there was a male and a female, what did I call them? Ghosts, or like his dark side. Well, it all had to do with like relationships with women. Yeah, I don't know, something about his parents. I'm not quite sure. That's always the parents, right? So, but getting back on her. Okay, so we got off of her for a minute. Let's get back to her. So let's talk about the fool. So he might have pointed at her, which scared her to death. And again, oh, my battery's dying. Hang on. Okay, I'm not sure what you could see, but this is like 2 hours later. My battery died, and both my batteries were dead. So, anyway, I pulled out the pagan tarot because as I was sitting here waiting for my batteries to charge, I was told to kind of use this deck so that we could talk more about the girl, the roommate that saw the perpetrator. I don't know if this is side or crickets. Oh, sorry people. I need to get a new tripod. Okay, so the other 2 cards that we had, these 2, we just talked about the perpetrator. But this was, we were wondering why, you know, she was in such fear and didn't, no one called the police till the next day, 11 something, close to 12 o'clock. So I'm going to use the pagan tarot to see what else was going on with her. And like I said, this is 2 hours later, so I'm trying to get back into the mindset and the flow. So sorry if I'm repeating myself. So let's see. So he might have pointed to her. And anything else that you could tell us that was going on? Ooh, what's this card? Blank card. Quite interesting. A blank stone in ruins is faith. And the deer in here is, like I said, to me, that spirit, the deer. So just have faith. Have faith is what it's telling us. Have faith that it's all going to work out. It'll all make sense, I guess is what it was telling us. I don't remember that card being in this deck. Okay. Anything else you can enlighten us with? So now this is the Knight. Yeah, the Knight of Cups. That was him again. That's him again. The Knight of Cups. Which is this guy. It was the Knight of Cups. So we're picking up him again. In the tree again. And there's a deer in the background. Oh. Basically, what I'm picking up is it was basically like a miracle. There's a deer here, and there's a deer here. The cup, and this isn't always what the Page of Cups means. You know, the Page of Cups means, you know, she's looking into the cup to get a message from Spirit, to follow her intuition. But this is the Novice of Chalices, but it's the Page of Cups. But with the deer, for me, meaning it's Spirit, it was basically a miracle. That, just a miracle that she didn't get killed. She wasn't the fifth. Now, my initial impression was he didn't see her. Because I was wondering, you know, if it's 4 in the morning, it's pretty dark. So, like, did she have her light on in her bedroom when she opened the door, or was it dark? Did he actually really see her, even though she saw him? So my first initial instinct was that he didn't really see her, but then it said she was face to face. And again, I think, like the one person said somewhere, that he just was like, he was done, he was tired. But I feel like he did something to cause her fear, like pointed, like this in the Fool card here. But she was just spared. She was spared. She was spared, obviously. But what else can we tell about this? Two of Pentacles. Yeah, she wanted to leave herself. I wonder if she was a very spiritual person. This kind of sort of looks like the house. I wonder. You know, when I found out my father was deceased, because Spirit told me, and I didn't know it. But I found out. No, it's a whole other story. But anyway, so I found out, and I was in shock. I was traumatized because he was already buried and no one told me. And I started, you know, I just was in disbelief. I was beyond grief-stricken. I was having auditory hallucinations. I didn't sleep for like 3 days. I didn't have the hallucinations the first night, I don't think. But maybe I did, I don't know. But I started having auditory hallucinations where I was hearing like radio, like newscasters or a sports, you know, caster. Just, then I knew it didn't exist. Of course, I didn't tell anybody. But, you know, this was back in December 2018. But so I'm wondering if this person, I wonder if she like wanted to leave, like with her purse there and her stuff. And then these two ladies here with the white, they look like angels kind of to me. And that kind of sort of looks like the house. I wonder if she was having like hallucinations. I don't know. I don't know. Stop. He wants WATER. So now we have the Seven of Swords. So we're having let me just, Seven of Swords. Yeah. Again, that's taking what's yours and running. Just leaving the scene. She wanted to get out of there. You know, maybe she sensed evil and she was just paralyzed by fear. Like she just wanted to leave. But again, like I said, she didn't know that these people were murdered at this point. And again, if she thought it was like, let's say, some creeper just trying to get in, and like I said at my college, that just like broke into sorority houses and just like would try to get in bed with a girl, and then she'd wake up and scream and he'd run out. Maybe she thought it was that kind of like a rapist thing. But so she was just like, I'm getting out of this town. I'm leaving this campus. This is creepy. I don't know if they had any things like that going on around in the area. But the Seven of Swords is like taking 5 and leaving 2 behind. Again, that could be him leaving evidence behind. There's a tree getting, well, it's the pagan terror. It's all about outside in nature, so there's going to be trees and everything. But I felt like she wanted to leave. And then we have the Elder, and the Elder is the king. But this deck confuses me because it has women as kings and men as queens, but they're called elders. So we have the King of Pentacles. So I see wine here and a book. Some fruit. Well, and the King of Pentacles is an abundant person with wealth and stability, but the wine is sticking out to me. It's maturity. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Could have something to do with how much she drank that night. Or maybe, you know, we don't know if, let's say she had trouble sleeping and she was prescribed sleep pills. If she mixed them with alcohol, then it could have messed her up also to make her drowsy, which is why she didn't stay up and call 911 or do other things. And again, we're, you know, don't assume that she knew what was going on. I mean, she heard Xana cry. So obviously if she's crying, she's alive, right? She thought Kaylee was playing with the dog upstairs. So if she's playing with the dog, obviously she's alive, right? She just thought maybe a creeper was in the house. Yeah, maybe she just thought a creeper was in the house and he left and she was scared. But she didn't, like, who would think? Like, who would think that someone would be coming into the house to commit those heinous crimes? And we have the Three of Cups. Yeah, like this is what I'm saying. Like, this home was a party place. This home was a happy place. This home was family of friends. So as I was saying that and pulling out this card, like, who would think that anything as gruesome like this would happen? So, you know, and again, back to the drinking thing. You know, there might have been drinking. Again, like I said in my last video, because if Madison was so drunk, then, you know, because it was either finals were over or finals, you know, the last weekend before break or whatever it was. I don't think finals were over because they said that if he were the perpetrator, he had to go back to class afterwards. So, but just letting off steam, you know, maybe this was the weekend to do it. I don't know. Oh, someone else did say there was like a game, like a sport event or some kind of event at the school at that time of year. You know, like, not a pep rally, but you know what I mean, like something. So if she had been drinking and then she took her sleeping pills or whatever she needed, because she was on sleep medicine, maybe it caused her, and on my TV here it's NyQuil. You know, maybe she thought she was coming down with something. So that, see, there's never really coincidences. And I have the TV on with the sound off in the background. Don't ask me why. So okay, so I mean, I don't really need to ask anymore because that's what it's telling me, is that it could have been alcohol mixed with sleep meds. Let's just look at the bottom here. Temperance. Mixing liquids. Temperance. Temperance is also about patience, but yeah, no, mixing liquids. That's not what you see here. You know, right or wait is mixing liquids. Here you can kind of almost see, you know, a student studying, but it looks kind of like a person at a work desk, but it could be a student studying. And with all that combined, mixing alcohol with meds, sleeping meds. Let's look at the bottom here. 17. Yeah. And the Three of Pentacles. Working hard. And then I just want to see what it says. Oh, this is the epic terror. But you know what? For some reason I wanted to look in the book for the pagan terror. So let me look. And this is what's called like bibliography, Bibleography or something. So I get hits off, you know, there could be a lot of words, but it'll pull me to one word. And you know why? Because this kind of does look like the pagan terror, this drawing. And you know, I don't remember seeing this drawing in the Epic Tarot. I mean, I'm sure I have, but I just don't remember pulling it. But doesn't it kind of look like the same artwork? So, and then I was holding it, I'm like, this is an awfully big card because I got the little deck. But I just want to see what this says in here for this card. Yeah. Clarity. Clarity, illumination. Clarity, illumination. Okay, well, it's a star card. Well, I'm not getting that off of this card. But you know how I said maybe he didn't see her? Do you see how, you know, like let's say this was her room and she opened the door and this is the light maybe coming in from the kitchen with the patio door where he walked past her and left out of. Maybe he didn't see her. And this is Spirit's light shining on her because remember I said she was saved. She was saved by Spirit. She was spared. So maybe he didn't see her. She has a star on her third eye. Well, can you do? You can't see him, can you? Wait, he's right there. He's on top of the cards. Get your head off the table. I think he petted the dog because I see things in cards, and I'm seeing a masked man and like a white fluffy dog's face. I think he petted the dog. Again, there's looks like something on her fingertips. So I wonder if someone got cut on the fingers. Now they also said in the affidavit, I can't say the word right now. I don't know if you can see her fingers, but there's something on the fingers, so I don't know. Fingers got cut. That the dog did bark, because at first they said, oh, it was a dog that wouldn't bark, you know. I think if something's going down, I've had 7 dogs, and I was a pet sitter. I had a pet sitting business. Even a dog that doesn't bark, when they know, when they could sense danger, sense fear, they're gonna bark. I'm telling you, they're gonna bark. So the dog barked, but he might have pet the dog. And then the dog probably was fearful and just ran and hid. So, yeah. I don't even think we need to pull any of these, but we can look at the, well, what's the bottom? 6 of Wands. And there's a 6 in the 6, 6. There's a 6 in the middle. 6 of Wands. 6 of Wands. I'm trying to remember the girl's name. 6 of Wands. Because it's victory. Okay, there's a G for Kaylee's last name. There's a H for his last name. Perpetrator, if he's found guilty. Where's my phone? Oh, it's charging. I just want to see. Is I just want to check their last names. So, you know, in every article they have all their names, and now that I'm looking for it, okay, K. Okay, there's no K. C for Kaplan. M Morgan. Okay. No, so there's just G and H. Okay, yeah, the only other thing I'm seeing is that it could have been, it was 4 victims, but it could have been 6. So I think he didn't know about the downstairs room, and he, it was a miracle that that girl that survived got spared. It was just a miracle. A 6 of Wands, he thought he was going to get away with this. And if it is the Brian person, then he still thinks he's going to get away with it. Okay, so the one other thing about the oh, the fact that they said there was a inmate in Pennsylvania that said he was yelling things like, I'll cut you, you know, I cut them. Number one, because I was a probation officer, adult and juvenile, so I worked for many, many, many years in the criminal justice system. I have a criminology degree and a sociology degree, and a bachelor's and a master's in education, special ed. So, but I have many years in criminology, criminal justice field. So, public defender, of course, is going to, it's not fair, but, you know, discount that witness because they're a criminal, okay? And I found it curious that they said that she was in there for domestic violence. So I don't know if she did something to her sister, to her boyfriend, to her girlfriend, you know, who knows what she did. So I thought that was curious that it was a female saying these things. And then it also said that, oh, she found out later that it was him, you know. And then I was, to myself, I was like, I don't buy that part, because they talk. You know, they have recess, and they have lunch, and who knows who she worked with in the laundry room or whatever. They talk. They see the news, they watch TV, they know the guy's going to their jail, you know, so, and then someone starts yelling about stabbing, I mean, you know. And then I guess to save herself possibly, or whatever, I don't know the situation, but I guess it turned out that it was some other guy yelling that. But then they said that he yelled at the guards, are you scared of me, you know, come in here. And now that part on its own, you know, he could have had a meltdown, he could have been severely depressed, crying, and just, you know, saying, oh, you know, you're afraid of me, you think I'm a creeper, come on in here, let's see if I'm a creeper, you know, like just venting, let's say, if he was innocent, or just venting about the situation. So none of that made me any mind. I didn't take any note to any of that, because number one, like I said, the fence would just squash it. Number two, as far as him yelling at the guard, that could just be venting, if a person is innocent. Number three, I thought, if he is a narcissist and is feeling that he's smarter than anybody else, that he could pull this off, I think he would play it cool. He may crack later, but not the initial few days in jail. So, I only did see one interview with the FBI or some detective that said he basically is an idiot, because where she brought up good points, which I don't think he's done this before. Now again, if he got away with it, he might be inclined to do it again. And I could be wrong, you know, that he hadn't done it before. But he was like, he's an idiot. 'Cause, like, who commits a crime indoors if you're a serial killer? You know, because outside, the elements could get to the whole crime scene, which is true. Who would risk such behavior, you know, of going into a home that maybe you've never been in before? True. He left the thing at the site. That's not a good criminal. He drove, well, I guess I say some people drive back to the crime scene, because I guess he did that the next morning. So, I mean, he may have an inflated ego. He may be narcissistic. He may be delusional. He probably does have some kind of mental illness, possibly, although he said he didn't. So that's going to be, they're going to evaluate him, so I'd be really curious to see what that says. Sorry, my video stopped. Hopefully this is not too long. I really hope, because I know my video stops after 30 minutes, and I don't know how long it was. We ran the first time before my battery stopped. So I will stop talking. But, you know, I'm not a YouTuber that's going to try to milk this, but I did want to come back on regarding the girl, because I felt bad for her, because people are like throwing her under the bus. And we don't know all the facts yet. And they didn't have to put all the facts in, because then they don't want to lay out their whole case to the defense. So I just, like I said, so, to sum up, she wanted to get out there. She wanted to get out of there. She wanted to leave right away. She was afraid. But she may have been on prescription sleep meds, or taken the NyQuil, like I said, I saw on because I hadn't been looking up at my TV at all, and I looked up right at the time that the severe NyQuil commercial came on, to help you sleep when you have a cold or something. So maybe it knocked her out. Oh God, and now a dog that looked like their dog, someone was petting. So maybe that's confirmation that he did pet the dog that I saw in the one, whatever. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I am on the right track with these things, if I could help people, that would be my goal. So I will see you again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.